The wealthy invest in things the middle class rarely even hears about, assets that grow quietly, pay them for life, and protect their money from inflation, recessions, and even the government. These 5 investments aren't complicated, but they're powerful. And the reason most people never use them is simple: no one ever teaches them. Today, I'll reveal the 5 investments the wealthy rely on, and why the middle class keeps missing out. When Marcus was a kid, he always heard the same message: save your money. Play it safe. Don't take risks. So he did exactly that. He saved, avoided debt, followed the traditional advice, the advice the middle class worship. Years later, he found himself frustrated. His savings weren't growing. His income wasn't enough. And he looked around and realized the wealthy weren't doing what he was taught to do. One afternoon, while helping his boss move offices, Marcus saw something on a shelf: a thin binder labeled Personal Portfolio 27 years. Inside were investments Marcus had never heard about. Not stocks, not savings accounts, not retirement plans, but assets that produced income automatically, grew predictably, and protected wealth even during downturns. That was the day Marcus realized the difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't opportunity. It was information. The wealthy had access to investment vehicles the middle class didn't even know existed. And once he learned them, everything changed. The first investment wealthy families use, and the one almost every middle-class investor ignores, is broad market ownership. Not stock picking, not gambling, not hot tips, just simple, scalable ownership of the entire market. While the middle class tries to predict which companies will win, the wealthy buy a piece of all of them. They don't depend on luck. They depend on math. By owning broad market index funds, like the S&P 500 or total market ETFs, they automatically benefit from the growth of the best companies in the country without needing to choose them. When one company rises, they win. When 10 companies rise, they win. When 100 rise, they win. The middle class panics when the market drops. The wealthy celebrate, because they know they're buying more pieces of the economy at a discount. This one investment does 4 things the middle class desperately needs. It grows consistently. It compounds silently. It protects against inflation. It requires zero expertise. Here's the truth Marcus learned. The wealthy don't try to beat the market. They simply own it. And while the middle class spends years chasing the next big opportunity, the wealthy let time and the economy do the heavy lifting. This is the foundation of almost every modern fortune, and most people have no idea. The second investment the wealthy rely on, and the one almost completely absent in the middle class, is cash flow asset. While most people focus on investments that might grow someday, the wealthy prioritize assets that pay them every single month. Cash flow assets are the opposite of speculation. They're predictable. They're steady. They're boring, and that's exactly why they work. This includes things like real estate that produces rental income, digital products that sell automatically, online businesses, royalties, licensing rights, dividend-paying asset, private lending, automated online stores. Here's the key. The wealthy don't wait 20 to 30 years for a retirement account to mature. They build streams of income now. Cash flow assets do 3 things the middle class desperately needs but never prioritizes. Lower financial stress. Money comes in even when they don't work. Build stability. Income stays steady even in recessions. Buy freedom, because financial independence is not built with a lump sum. It's built with monthly money that arrives without you. While the middle class depends on a single paycheck, the wealthy create multiple paychecks that flow with or without their effort. Marcus realized quickly, it wasn't about earning more. It was about earning differently. Cash flow is the bridge between survival and freedom. The third investment wealthy families use, and the one the middle class almost never understands, is called asymmetric bets. It sounds complex, but it's actually simple. Small risk, massive upside. The wealthy never risk everything. They risk a fraction, on opportunities that could multiply their money in ways traditional investments never could. Asymmetric bets include things like angel investing, startup equity, micro-private equity, early-stage technology plays, buying digital real estate early, small positions in emerging markets, early IP ownership, cryptocurrency, tiny percent of portfolio, not gambling. Here's the secret. The wealthy don't expect every asymmetric bet to win. They expect most to fail. And that's okay, because they only need one winner to offset every loser and still multiply their wealth massively. The middle class can't do this. Not because they're incapable, but because they're overexposed. They bet too big on the wrong things. Rich families teach their kids a different rule. Never risk what you need for what you want. That's why asymmetric bets work for them. They only invest money they can afford to lose. But in opportunities that, if they win, change everything. Marcus realized the truth. The wealthy don't gamble. They make controlled bets with unlimited upside. And that's how fortunes are built quietly. The fourth investment the wealthy rely on, the one that separates them permanently from the middle class, is ownership in systems, not jobs. This is the investment most people never even think about, because the entire system trains you to believe that income must come from employment. But wealthy families teach something radically different. Don't own work. Own systems that replace work. A job pays you once for your time. A system pays you forever for your structure. Systems include things like online businesses, subscription models, automated stores, SaaS and digital tools, media channels, licensing and royalties, franchises, platforms that run without the owner. The middle class invests in degrees, resumes, and career paths. The wealthy invest in systems that don't require them to show up every day. A job ties your income to your presence. A system ties your income to your design. Marcus learned an uncomfortable truth. You can work harder, but your income will always have a ceiling, unless you own something that runs on its own. This is why the wealthy keep getting richer. Not because they have more time, but because they own machines that produce value even while they sleep. Once Marcus invested in his first system, small, imperfect, but automated, his life began shifting permanently. He wasn't earning more because he worked more, but because he finally owned something that didn't need him. The fifth investment wealthy families make, and the investment the middle class almost never prioritizes, is knowledge that compounds. Marcus realized something surprising inside that old binder. There were notes, books, seminars, courses, mentors, strategies. Investment after investment in learning. Because wealthy families understand one truth. Your mind is an asset, and assets that grow pay you forever. The middle class stops learning once school ends. They learn what they need for their job, nothing more. Their income stays flat because their knowledge stays flat. But the wealthy? They invest in knowledge deliberately, constantly, aggressively. They study how money works, how systems scale, how to negotiate, how markets move, how to invest, how to lead, how to communicate, how to build things that last. They know something most people never realize. A new skill can multiply your income faster than any investment in the stock market. One idea can launch a business. One insight can save a fortune. One strategy can accelerate wealth by decade. Marcus understood that knowledge wasn't just education. It was leverage. It was power. It was an investment with no downside and unlimited upside. And when he combined knowledge with cash flow assets, asymmetric bets, systems, and broad market ownership, everything clicked. He didn't just start investing like the wealthy. He started thinking like them. Here's the truth Marcus didn't expect. The reason the middle class misses all 5 of these investments has nothing to do with money and everything to do with conditioning. They don't avoid these investments because they're too complicated. They avoid them because they were never taught to see them. Their entire lives, they were trained to focus on saving, job security, and playing it safe. So when they hear about broad market ownership or cash flow assets, their instinct is to pull away, not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar. The wealthy were taught to recognize opportunities. The middle class was taught to fear them. This is why two people can look at the same investment, and one sees risk while the other sees freedom. Marcus realized that the gap between rich and poor isn't money. It's vision. It's awareness. It's the ability to see past the script you were handed. And in a moment, I'll show you how to break that script permanently and start investing the way the wealthy have for generations. Here's the truth Marcus finally understood, the truth most people never realize until it's too late. The wealthy aren't using secret investments. They're using different principles. While the middle class saves, the wealthy buy ownership. While the middle class lives off one paycheck, the wealthy build streams of cash flow. While the middle class fears risks, the wealthy make asymmetric bet. While the middle class relies on a job, the wealthy build systems. While the middle class stops learning, the wealthy treat knowledge like gold. It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's strategy. Strategy anyone can learn, if they're willing to see the world differently. Once Marcus understood this, his entire financial identity changed. He stopped chasing promotions and started chasing assets. He stopped asking, "How can I earn more?" and started asking, "How can I own more?" He stopped trying to predict the future and started preparing for it. And the moment he combined these 5 investments, even on a small scale, he began experiencing something he'd never felt before: momentum. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's built by making the right moves consistently, the moves the wealthy have been making for decades. And now you know them too. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe right now. Because in the next video, I'll show you how to take the very first step toward building a portfolio like the wealthy. Even if you're starting with only $50, most people will watch this and go back to the old script. But you're still here. You stayed until the end. And that means you're ready to start investing like the wealthy. One smart move at a time.